this seminar, our panelists will discuss the issue of ocean and land grabbing. This is an issue that many of our societies are having to deal with.
So we see these tremendous waves of privatization and of dispossession, and we see tremendous waves of criminalization of the people who happen to be living wherever these resources are and are in the way. The surplus people. They're surplus to capital. We have to get them out of the way somehow. So, as it turns out, what I follow is land, and what I've come here to learn about more is about oceans. So, with land, I was mentioning in my last talk, something like 86 million hectares have been grabbed just over the last 7 years. That's 5 times the size of Italy, just so you get an idea. Right? So 5 times the size of Italy has been grabbed around the world from peasant farmers, primarily. And it's been grabbed for the reasons I explained, but also because sometimes there's water, sometimes there are minerals. So what we find is that this grabbing ends up being part of an extractive industry. How do I extract this wealth, this rent, these minerals, this food? And sometimes you don't even have to grow any food. They call it gold with yield. Now the problem there then is that this land rent, this value that I'm talking about, which we don't see, but financiers know it's there. So they can immediately trade it on the international financial markets. So suddenly we have the phenomena, the financialization of our economic systems, where suddenly land is worth more for what you can trade it for on the international finance market than for what it can produce. And that means, and this is true for the oceans as well, and what that means is that think about the time horizon of a financier. The time horizon is about 5 seconds on the international market, the international finance market. 5 seconds is slow. You think this value, the value of the land, is repackaged, it's cut up like sausage, it's repackaged again, it's sold again, it moves around the world, the value moves around the world in seconds, being traded constantly. But a farmer needs to think a lifetime ahead. The soil, the trees, the water, food. It's not a time horizon of seconds, it's a time horizon of generations. So the problem with the financialization, so land grabbing and ocean grabbing is a reflection of the financialization of our economic system in a period of late capitalism, right, where you can make more money by squeezing wealth out of other people's value than you can by actually producing things. And you can make more money by extracting, short-term extraction, than you certainly can by long-term planning and production. This is happening in rural areas, it's happening in urban areas. There's a tremendous real estate bubble going on. And people are being pushed off the land and treated as surplus people throughout the world. And this is precisely what we need, to converge with our different struggles around this phenomenon, which is a phenomenon of a period of late capitalism and financialization. And I think that it's very clear that what we have to do is take back our commons, take back our public sector, take back our public sphere from international capital. Everything has been privatized, and suddenly we can't make any decisions unless we buy them. You have to buy your decisions. Well, we're out of luck if that's the case, because we don't have as much money. We don't have any buying power. We don't have any market power. We will always lose. So the only way to win is to create strong social movements, change the rules, change the institutions, change the laws, and if you can't, then break them.
What drives ocean grabbing? What makes it happen? We say the first thing is the privatization of fisheries. And why are fisheries being privatized? There's this idea, there's this concept in people's minds, especially those in power, those who have authority, those who own the capital and the economies of regions, of countries and the world, there's this notion of the so-called fisheries crisis. Now this word fisheries crisis is meant to mean and to understood that it includes overfishing. The fishery stocks is being depleted. There's not enough fish anymore. It also includes the notion, and correctly, that the fish and water bodies in the oceans and in lakes and river systems is polluted. It means that fishing methods that are being used is destructive. All of these things and many others contributes to the notion of the fishery crisis. So what to do about this fishery crisis is you privatize it. And why do you privatize the fishery? Because once it is privatized and it is in the hands of corporate sectors in particular, then it can be better managed. It will be more efficiently managed. You know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and you know who and where to punish if there is a problem. So this fishery crisis leads to privatization of the fishery resources, and therefore, once privatized, it is taken out of the hands of the small-scale sector or the small-scale fish producers or food producers into the hands of the corporate, who are presumably a lot more efficient than those of us in the small-scale sectors are. Another driver of ocean grabbing, we say, is the increased demand by consumers for farmed, marine, and aquatic resources. This is a picture of mangroves, of a mangrove area in Ecuador, but it happens frequently in Honduras as well. Mangroves are being destroyed. They're being eliminated. They're being taken away. They're being removed in order to build shrimp aquaculture farms. So the destruction of that environment is the cause is the reason for building aquaculture farms, so that the pellet, the food needs of the export market is being addressed. That is a particularly horrendous example because of consumer patterns, consumer demand, because it not only destroys the mangrove there, but the method of aquaculture largely includes the use of hormones and chemicals, further destroying the adjacent land and environment. What do we do about all of this? We say firstly that we need to move away from capitalist orientation production systems. We need to move away from the conveyor belt line. We need to change the way and the habits, the way we consume food. We need to change the way we dress, the way we live, the habits of wasting. We need to move away from that. These are all capitalist-oriented systems. That is what we believe would be the first thing that needs to be eradicated, that we need to move from. So that relates to the fact that where it needs to start is with ourselves. Nobody else is going to do it. Our lifestyle, our consumerism, the way we eat and live, that has to change. And lastly, we're saying what we need to do is to take what we do here in Slow Food, in Terra Madre, take it a little bit further. It is our responsibility. Take it further away from the notion of food security to what we call food sovereignty. And food sovereignty for us includes having access to food, but it also means that for the people who harvest and produce the food to have control over the processes that is used to produce that food. That the people have control over the ocean, over the fish, over the land, but also people have control and manage the different parts of the production systems, how the food gets to the market, or how it is consumed, and in particular, that all of that is influenced by democratic practice. That is something that the producer, the owner of the land, of the ocean, the producer, and ultimately the consumer have control over. The power sits there. It starts with us. So I'm saying that right now, thanks very much, but it is time to act. Thank you.